Yeah, of course.
And so, being a startup, there's other startups in the Facebook group, in the For Love of Health Facebook group. And why not just reach out and, meet these other people at the same, level that we're at, and maybe do like an Instagram live or something else. There's like so many ways to grow with referral marketing that I don't think a lot of people like really easily tap onto, like super explosive growth things that are just about getting to know a small community. I think there's so much value in getting to know a small group of people instead of like thinking about like casting this really huge net. Do you relate to that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think once we can kind of intimately know our neighbor or our virtual neighbor's business, it's easier for us to help people and to recognize when other people might need their services, or to easily be able to connect people for those things. And I think that's really awesome. And I work a lot with networking and referrals and things like that. So I think this is something that's perfect for me. And I'd love to point anybody else in the right direction that comes on here too.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to let you introduce your company in a second. Hello, everybody. We're here for the love of health, and we are here with a health business owner, again, as usual. Her name is Hannah O'Brien, and she is based out in California. So that's really exciting because we have people in this community from all over the country, all over the world, really, who are doing this business for health, who are coming at it with passion, with a particular focus, a particular type of program. So we are all learning from one another here, and we're all getting on this journey to get people healthy and to do it in ways that feel really congruent with our values and with ethics and really serving our people. So Hannah, like, tell me a little bit about your business and what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you said, my name's Hannah, and I am an anti-anxiety and stress coach and expert. And I help people overcome anxiety and stress in fun and new, exciting ways using coping skills and thought reframing techniques. And I've seen a lot of success with it recently. I've been doing this for about 8 months now, 9 months, and I've been able to help everybody that's come to me so far, which is really awesome. And I'm really excited and proud of that. And basically, we just work together through Zoom. I have a group coaching, and then I have a one-on-one coaching. And then I also do a 6-month program. So my 6-month program is kind of like a boot camp for people. They come in. I usually explain I'm kind of like Mary Poppins. I'm there when you don't want me initially to give you all the hard stuff to do and all the coping skills and the homework. And then right when you start to like me, I got to go. It's time for me to leave. I try to give you all of the good information that you need in that 6 months to cope with your stress and anxiety, hopefully forever, so that you don't have to go anywhere else, so that you have the tools and you know how to look for more current tools as well as they become available to us, so that those types of resources are readily available to those people. Because I feel like so often the struggle that I see with so many people is that they don't know where to start, or they don't know what's available to them or what type of resources they have available to them. They just think traditional therapy and medication. And then they think once they've tried therapy and medication that they've tried it all. And I'm like, wow, there's so many other things that we can try besides just therapy and medication, especially for stress and anxiety.
Well, you put 2 words together we don't usually hear, and that's fun and anxiety.
Right.
So that is a very different approach right there. And you're absolutely right that part of the limitation that sometimes we have as holistic health, alternative health, is even educating people on what's possible, what's available to them. And beyond what they normally see or what's available through insurance and other things like that. Well, cool. So tell me about that. Is your background in something psychological, conventional, or is there a therapy background, or did you come at this with a non-conventional background?
Yeah, no, my background's really interesting. I did come at it with a non-conventional background. I used to be, to start, I was in food service, and I kind of worked my way into management and had worked with a lot of people. But what really helped me the most was having anxiety myself. I've been a lifelong anxiety sufferer, and I've had it since I was about, I think 3 years old is what we decided. It was my first episode of anxiety. And I just thought, there has to be a better way. I had been through all the therapy. I had been through all the medication. I was having so many panic attacks and I was asking people for resources and I couldn't find any resources. And I realized I was on my own to solve this. I realized that the therapist wasn't going to hold my hand the whole entire time and spoon feed me these coping skills. And I realized that it was me and that I was on my own in this. And I hated that. And I really wanted to create something where you didn't have to be on your own through that, where somebody could care and help you through that process, where somebody could help you find what's triggering your anxiety. And so really what I did was I dove deep. I went, okay, what is anxiety? How does it work in the body? How does it work in the brain? What affects anxiety? It's usually exercise, diet, sleep. And I did probably hundreds of hours of my own research into it. And then I went the certification route. And once I figured out that this was something that I wanted to do, I did go get certified for it. But I started out with research and just learning and just trying to figure out as much as I possibly could about it, because I figured the more I know about it, the more control I have over it. And the more I'm going to be able to help myself through this. And so through all of that, I found all of these coping skills and I was in all of these support groups and people would ask for help and I would go, oh my gosh, have you tried this? That sounds like this might really help you. And they were like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of that. I'll definitely try it. And then they'd hit me back later and they'd be like, thank you so much for recommending that. I'd never tried that. I'd never heard of that. That helped so much. I'm feeling so much better. I was able to get through my panic attack. And I would do this for hours and hours and hours for free. And finally, somebody brought it to my attention. They're like, have you ever thought of maybe coaching or maybe, doing this for a living or maybe helping people on a bigger scale with something like this? And I really was like, no, I kind of hadn't thought of it just like that quite yet. And it kind of helped put the idea in my brain that maybe I could. So I started a free program completely for free because I thought, you know what? I was like, I'm not certified in this. I'm just an anxiety sufferer who knows how to overcome it and got through it themselves. I went from like 20 panic attacks today to 20 panic attacks a day, to about, I maybe have one once every couple of months now, which I would say is just a massive and incredibly huge difference in quality of life, in stress and happiness levels and everything like that. But I started the free program and I just was offered it completely for free for 2 months. And I just said, okay, anybody that wants to sign up for this is what it is. I told them I'm not certified yet, but I am working on my certification. And this is what I want to do. I want to offer this program and I want to just purely see if it helps. And it would just be in exchange for you to tell me how it went afterwards. And I was like, and if it doesn't work, you can leave and we can just shake hands and say it didn't happen and go the other way. But what ended up happening was I ended up finding some of the most amazing clients that are all still with me to this day at the very beginning. And they helped me formulate this program by going through it. By going through it themselves, as I built it, they gave me feedback and helped me work on what would be most helpful for them or what they think would be most helpful for other clients or other people. And I really just had this huge team of people that wanted to help me and help me build this and create this into something. And so we were able to, and it's just been such an amazing journey along the way, helping people. I've gotten some really incredible compliments that just things like this has been more helpful to me than medication, more helpful to me than going to see a therapist or a psychiatrist. And just that this has been such a different experience, such a positive, and even one of my clients was like, dare I say, fun experience to go through. And so that's what I want it to be for most people when they come through it. I want it to be, it doesn't have to be anxiety inducing to deal with the anxiety. It can be fun. It can be stress-free. We can figure out good ways to cope and to deal with it. And my whole goal is to just raise the quality of life for people. I currently work with different clients on different budgets at the current moment because different people have different budgets and I couldn't have afforded a super expensive program when I was going through this. And so I tried to make this program and the programs that I have into everything that I would have wanted when I was going through this myself and when I needed that help and desperately didn't have it. So I always let my clients know that I'm available 24/7. They're able to check in with me whenever they want to, and I'm there for them. And I just have a big heart and I just really always want to help as much as possible. So I also have a free Facebook group that I do, and we do live coaching. We will be in there tonight doing some free live coaching and Q&As and stuff like that. But helping people in this way has been, I think, the most fulfilling thing I've done this far. And I definitely would say it's my purpose for being here.
Yeah, well, it's obvious that you have a lot of value, that you're providing a lot of value to your people. And you bring up some excellent points about the ebb and flow, the natural ebb and flow. But even with certifications or certain emblems of distinction, we still have to serve clients and build our momentum in our success and with our programs with the results of our clients. That it's not just about us saying what will happen, it's really letting them share what their experiences are, because then they help shape our programming. So it's great that you are coming at it that way, because a lot of people do struggle with client retention because they don't listen thoroughly to their clients. It's not it seems like your programming is really forming around your clients' needs, and that's why they're having such success. But I want to go back a little bit too about mental health industry. I mean, you're younger than me. I'm older a bit, but things weren't really great for me growing up either with mental health and mental health industry access as a whole. So it's kind of disheartening for me to hear that you, as a younger person, also faced the same type of restrictive, things in mental health. But now, things seem to be shifting a little bit. Who is Selena Gomez? Is that her name? Selena Gomez?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, last year she has a new product. She's raising millions of dollars for mental health, and it's something like 80% of the world's big corporations have made they've made an oath this year in 2022 to influence mental health access to their workers. Joe Biden just said they're going to have, the president of the United States just said there's going to be mental health for all Americans, mental health access. I mean, mental health seems to be really on the up and up as far as the industry goes and as far as access goes. I mean, there's a few other things that I've been reading about. TikTok, right? TikTok is being brought to court for mental health issues for adolescents. Facebook is hiring mental health professionals for crisis intervention. So what do you think this means? Are you seeing changes? Do you think your clients are seeing changes?
I think this means that we have more access to information than we've ever had before. I think we have more access to people than we've ever had before, and I think that's overwhelming for a lot of people. And I think it presents a lot of great opportunities, but also a lot of challenges as well. That being mental health, there's so many things that we can't control just yet on social media and what they're seeing. And so I always just recommend that parents keep a close eye on what their kids are doing on social media, or set any sort of restrictive boundaries that they need to. It's definitely great to see that there are some really awesome things taking place where people like Selena Gomez and Joe Biden are doing their part to help mental health and doing what they can. It's really awesome to see things like that. But I think unfortunately, a lot of people don't know what they don't know. As I always like to say, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And I think it's just a matter of getting that information more accessible to people, because I honestly don't think I would have needed therapy too much if I had had access to something like this program. Or that's not to say that that therapy is not useful or that it doesn't have its place. Just for me particularly, I think it would have been beneficial to have a coping skill assortment like this available to me. And that's kind of what I want to do. I have big plans. I want to create courses and things that are more accessible and affordable for people, so that people do have access to things like this, because it's so important. And I think that mental health is bigger now than it ever has been. I think more people are aware of it now than they ever have been. I think it's more acceptable now to talk about it than it ever has been. And so we're seeing more people talk about it than we ever have. I also think we have more people now than we ever have. So a lot of that has to do with the rising numbers in mental health, and people talking about it and being diagnosed with it and things like this. But I actually think it's a good thing, because us talking about it and bringing light to it, it'll become more normal. We'll be able to have more tools for it. My dream is that one day we might even teach things like coping skills in school, and mental health techniques and stress relief techniques and things like that in schools, so that we have these skills as we grow up and become adults. Because I know that something like this would be super beneficial to me, which is I work with several educators and several teachers, which is really exciting that I get to teach them and they get to bring these coping skills to their classroom and pass them on. So it's just, I think there's a lot that goes into it. And I think that's a great question with lots of answers.
Yes. So, going back to your program, your program is building organically, like one person at a time. It seems like a very kind of smaller, intimate movement. But where is that space? Like, do you want it to get larger? And if it does get larger, like what would you say is like your ideal partnership with, like, what larger operation or larger organization do you think would be ideal for this process, for your process to be within, to help spread it a little bit faster, to gain a little bit more fire and momentum?
I think that's a great question. And I think there's no particular organization that does immediately come to mind. But I know that I do dream of bigger things for this. And I know that this is just the beginning for me. I've just scratched the surface. I have so many incredible ideas that I'm really excited to follow through on, things like apps and books and just some really incredible resources that I want to make available and affordable. And I just would have to see where it goes as I grow, kind of. I'm kind of that person where I just kind of see where it grows into. I always like to make sure it feels aligned and right. And with this business, I would never want it to turn into something for lack of better words, like Jeff Bezos, where we just are not caring about other people or the employees or the company. So I would love for it to be something that I'm always involved in and something that I'm always helping out with, and just making sure that every aspect of it is tailored to people who struggle with mental health and stress and anxiety, and just making sure that it's more accessible. I am online, so I'm able to see people through Zoom. So I'm able to have different clients all over the world, which I think is really cool. And I really do love that, being able to help people from anywhere. But yes, I have big things. I'd love to actually eventually one day I'd love to teach other people how to become a stress and anxiety coach, and kind of teach them my process and what to do and things like that. So I have huge dreams and huge ideas for this, and definitely follow along with me as I grow. I'm going places. I have big plans to help, and I don't plan to stop until I do.
Yeah, well, you brought up some clear, concrete goals, and each one of those has a tangible path of steps to get to each one of those outcomes. So absolutely. So what are a couple of your goals within the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. The next 3 to 6 months, that's a good question. Well, I'm going to be on TV a couple times here. So that's really exciting. I met one of my goals. I was trying to just get the word out about myself. And also I really like to talk about mental health and provide free value as much as I can. So I'm meeting that goal currently by doing that. And so in the next 3 months, I'm really excited to have actually met that one. And then I'm also working on just my free Facebook group. I'm trying to provide the most value I can there. And then I'm also writing a book with my partner. I wrote the book, but I'm going to have him illustrate it. It's called The ABCs of Anxiety, and it's going to be a coping mechanism book for children, where you'll flip through the book and it'll be A is for this coping skill. It'll teach you how to do it. And if that one doesn't work, we flip to B. And that one doesn't work, we flip to C. And it just has a bunch of different ones, and shows you with pictures how to do it. And I just want it to be really easy and clear cut and straightforward. And that's something that I'm working on next. So my goal for that would be to have more of that done. But be making progress. I think I want to be in the stage of looking to get it finished up at that point, I think in the next 3 months, because I have all of it written. We're just kind of working on the illustrations. So I think maybe my goal would be to have the illustrations done in the next 3 months, and then working on my next goal, which will be starting to we're looking at also doing a podcast next year. So we'll be looking at doing that, and then picking out the next one off the idea list.
Yeah, while also fulfilling and providing programming and
Right.
doing your group stuff. Yeah,
Right.
good stuff. So what kind of challenges come up for you, as far what could possibly get in the way, or keep you from feeling like you're making movement toward the direction you want to go?
I think sometimes when we lose clients, that can happen. I haven't had that happen. I did lose one client. But it kind of brought fire to me. I kind of just asked myself, what do I think could have gone wrong there? How do I think I could have served that client better? What can I do next time to ensure that I can retain that client? And I just kind of really looked inward and tried to make sure that it wasn't something that I did, and just adjust my process, and then just really try and go back out there and find other
Were they
people.
a good client for you?
Um, yes and no. They were,
Why no?
I usually work better with people who are able to meet frequently. And this individual was just not able to meet at the times that we had planned to meet. And it just was becoming an issue of showing up. So I think that was one of the biggest reasons. But yeah, no, challenges definitely do arise in this kind of thing. And I think I come from the mindset of there is no problem that can't be solved. So whenever I come to a really big issue or something, I'm like, oh my gosh, like the other day, I just put up my website and I installed a chat widget. Well, I installed the chat widget wrong and it took my whole website down. And I was like, oh, I was like, before I panic, I'm just going to take a really big deep breath. I was like, and I tell myself, I count down from 5, and I'm like, okay. When I get to 1, I'm like, there's no problem that I can't solve. What's the first step in solving a problem like this? And I'm only going to focus on the first step to solve that problem until that gets done. And then I'm step 2. And then by the time I'm on step 3, 4, 5, the problem has been solved. And in 20 minutes, I had the website back up. Now, if I had panicked, I don't know if I would have gotten that website back up as quickly, but sometimes it's really important to just kind of, when you're facing those challenges, take a big deep breath. I count either to 5 or down from 5, and then I pick some sort of action or something that I can do to help me in that moment. And that's just kind of
That's
how I
great.
face
And
challenges.
I love that you're in our Facebook group for the love of health for holistic health business owners who want online growth. And you're also a subscriber to my YouTube channel. You're going to love that we have an episode coming up soon too, where we interview a breathwork practitioner out in Reno, Nevada. So
Ooh, so
I
exciting.
yeah, I think your stories align a lot there too, because that resonates with, I think, a lot of people of like, yes, things come up, challenges come up, even
Oh,
when we don't
yes.
think they're going to, or with basic tech stuff. And we think, oh, we think this task, we have this amount of time allotted for that task, but then, it looks like the task gets drawn out. So how do you breathe through that and cope with the everyday anxiety that comes up from just the mundane, the things that are that we're tackling? Because when you're the entrepreneur, you're wearing all these hats. So definitely good points there. Awesome. So yeah, besides those goals and those challenges, how have you been working? Do you think that you've been working very effectively towards the things that you're doing and feel like you're on the right path here?
Yeah, definitely. It took me just up until I found this to figure out that this is what I wanted to do, and that this was something that was meant for me. And honestly, I can't describe it other than it's a feeling that I get in my chest, and that's how I describe it to people. And to me, it feels like maybe just like tingling or magic. I call it magic. It feels like magic or butterflies in my chest whenever I help somebody and I feel warm. And it just makes me feel like I'm doing something right. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good. And I really just, I love helping people. I think that's what it honestly boils down to. And I think that this is something that I'm so glad that I suffered with, so that I can help other people through it. At the time, I did not see it that way. But I think sometimes we can't quite see things bird's eye as much as we'd like to. And I'm so glad that I'm able to use what I suffered through to help people overcome theirs, and that hopefully I can stop some people from having to suffer for so long, and just provide some relief in that facet.
Great. Well, thank you so much for
Yes,
coming,
of course.
Hannah, and talking to us today about the things that you're passionate about your work. And is there anything that you'd like to leave us with today? Anything you'd like us to know about? Any immediate needs that you have?
Um, I think maybe the only thing is just, if this resonated with you and you'd be interested in reaching out to me, you can always contact me at Hannah-O'Brien, which is HANNAH-OBRIEN.com, and click the little chat button that I installed and took my website down for 20 minutes. It works now, I promise. You click it and you can get in contact with me and just let me know how I can help you have a better day, and what it is that I can do for you. But I just think, I think that above all else, just treat everybody with love and kindness that you come across. You never know what somebody is dealing with or what they're going through. So just try to always come from a place of love when dealing with others, especially others who might appear to be having a bad day. I think that's my final thoughts.
That's a great reminder. Thank you. Have
Yeah,
a
of
good
course.
day.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.